welcome back to the channel, Humans Inspiring Stories. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Today's story is about strength, but not the kind you see. It's about the quiet, unseen strength that's born in silence, tested in pain, and guided by faith. They called her weak. They laughed at her hesitation. They saw her trembling hands and said she wasn't built for this. But life has a way of revealing what the eyes can't see, because inside her, beyond muscle and fear, was something unbreakably peace that no one could take away. Her name was Amara. She wasn't born into greatness. No one handed her power. She was small, quiet, often overlooked. In her town, strength was measured by volume, by how loud you spoke, how fast you ran, how hard you hit. Amara was none of those things. She was thoughtful, soft-spoken, always helping others, and yet that gentleness was mistaken for weakness. When she joined a Marine training program, one of the toughest in the region, one believed she'd last a week. The first day the instructors laughed quietly when they saw her size. The others smirked. Some whispered bets behind her back. 2 days, maybe 3. Even she doubted herself. The first drills were brutal. Her arms shook, her lungs burned, her body screamed for rest. She fell more times than she stood. The trainers shouted, the others surged ahead, and every time she stumbled, someone would murmur, "She's not cut out for this." She would hear it, swallow hard, and keep going. But at night, when everyone else collapsed in exhaustion, Amara sat awake, not scrolling her phone, not complaining. She sat in silence, staring at the stars through the barrack window. Somewhere deep inside, she felt a whisper, one she hadn't heard in a long time. It said, "You are not what they think. You are what you believe." The next morning, she arrived early, before sunrise. The air was cold, the field empty. She started to run. One step, then another. Her breath fogged in the air, her shoes pounding against the dirt. There were no eyes watching, no shouts, no expectations. Just her and her breath, just faith and effort. That was the first time she felt free. Day after day, she kept at it. But training didn't get easier. Her muscles still hurt. Her body still protested. What changed was her spirit. Instead of seeing pain as punishment, she began to see it as purification. Every push-up became a prayer. Every bruise became a reminder that strength is born through surrender. When the instructors yelled, she didn't react. She listened. When the others mocked her, she didn't respond. She breathed. She began to understand something deeper. The fight wasn't with them, it was with the voice inside her that kept saying, "You can't." Weeks passed. The program grew harder. The Marines around her were faster, louder, stronger. But she noticed something. Some of them had power, but no patience. They had strength, but no stillness. They won in drills, but lost in spirit. They carried pride like armor, and when things went wrong, that armor cracked. Amara, though, started to find peace even in failure. She'd fall, smile, and get up. She learned to quiet her mind until her movements became smooth, fluid, almost meditative. One instructor, a stern man named Captain Harris, noticed. After one particularly grueling day, he walked up and said, "You move differently now. What changed?" She looked at him and said softly, "I stopped fighting myself." He didn't respond at first. He just nodded. That night, he mentioned her name during the debrief. "That girl everyone wrote off," he said. "She's learning something most of you haven't. She's learning control." The next few weeks became a turning point. Amara's form improved. Her endurance grew. The whispers around her began to shift. Some still doubted her, but others started watching differently, curious, almost respectful. She wasn't competing to be better than them. She was becoming better than who she was yesterday. But real growth doesn't come without one last test. One morning, an announcement came down. A special evaluation, a mixed sparring challenge involving the top 5 Marines. It wasn't meant to humiliate anyone, but everyone knew it would. Those Marines were known for their ferocity. And to everyone's surprise, Amara's name was on the list. The room went silent when they read it. Some chuckled. One Marine, tall and broad, muttered, "You're joking, right?" But it wasn't a joke. Her instructor wanted to see what she'd do when faced with the strongest that night. She couldn't sleep. She sat cross-legged on her bunk, eyes closed. Fear whispered, "You're going to get hurt. You can't win." But another voice whispered back, calm and steady, "Winning isn't about knocking them down. It's about standing when you could have fallen." She breathed deeply, placing her hand over her heart. "God," she whispered, "I don't want to prove them wrong. I just want to prove that peace is power." When morning came, the gym was full. The Marines lined up. The instructors gathered. The air was thick with tension. Amara stood in the center, barefoot on the mat. Small compared to the men facing her, she closed her eyes, inhaled, and exhaled. Her heartbeat slowed. The noise faded. When the whistle blew, the first Marine lunged. Quick, fierce, confident, she sidestepped, light on her feet, his momentum carrying him past her. The crowd gasped. He turned again, another strike, but she met it with calm precision. Within seconds, he was on the ground. The others exchanged glances. The second came forward. He was heavier, stronger. He tried to overpower her, but she stayed centered, balanced, flowing like water. She didn't fight him, she redirected him. When he stumbled, the silence in the gym was louder than any shout. Asterisk the third and fourth Marines attacked together. Her body moved in rhythm, every motion, anchored in breath. Every strike born from awareness. She wasn't fighting with anger. She was dancing with purpose. The rhythm of stillness guided her, and when they both fell, the room was frozen. Asterisk the fifth Marine stepped forward. He was the strongest of them, all known for his power and pride. For a moment, he hesitated. Then he charged. The air cracked, but Amara waited, still as stone. When he reached her, she moved fast, precise, and with complete peace. One motion, one breath, and it was over. The whistle blew. The room erupted not in chaos, but in disbelief. The 5 Marines who had mocked her now looked at her in awe. She didn't raise her fists. She simply bowed her head. Asterisk Captain Harris stepped forward. His voice was quiet. What did you just do? Asterisk Amara smiled faintly. I didn't fight them. I let peace do it for me. Asterisk he stared for a moment, then nodded slowly. Maybe that's real strength. Asterisk the next day. The stories spread across the camp. Some exaggerated, some joked, but most just watched her differently now. The girl they called weak had done the impossible. But the truth was her victory wasn't against the Marines. Her victory was over doubt, over fear, over the need to prove anything to anyone. Asterisk that night. She went back to her favorite place, the open field under the stars. The same place where her journey began. She sat down, closed her eyes, and smiled. The wind brushed against her face, cool and soft. Asterisk she whispered, thank you. Asterisk not to the world, not to her trainers, but to the silence that carried her, to the pain that shaped her, to the faith that never left her, even when she couldn't feel it. Asterisk her body had grown strong, but her soul had grown stronger. She realized now that every moment of weakness was a seed of strength, waiting for faith to water it. Every insult was a lesson. Every doubt was a doorway. Every failure was a teacher dressed in hardship. Asterisk she thought about how many people live trapped in others' opinions. How many spend their lives trying to prove their worth. She had done that once, until she discovered that you don't need to prove what already exists inside you. You just need to live it. Asterisk from that day on, Amara became more than a fighter. She became a teacher. When younger recruits struggled, she didn't shout. She listened. When they doubted themselves, she shared her story not of victory, but of transformation. Asterisk she told them, strength doesn't come from anger. It comes from alignment. When your mind, body, and soul move together, you stop fighting the world. You start flowing with it. Asterisk some didn't understand right away. Others did, but the ones who listened changed. The training hall became quieter, more focused, less noise, more purpose. Her peace was contagious. Asterisk years later, when people spoke of her, they didn't just say, she knocked out 5 Marines. They said, she taught us what peace can do. Asterisk in interviews. When asked how she found her strength, she always smiled and said, I didn't find strength. I found surrender. And strength came looking for me. Asterisk, the more she shared, the more she realized how many people in the world carry invisible battles, how many live under the weight of being misunderstood, underestimated, unseen. She wanted her story to tell them. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be gentle. The ocean is soft too, until you stand in its way. Asterisk one evening during a talk, someone asked, weren't you afraid that day? She answered, of course. But fear isn't the enemy. Fear is the signal that you're stepping into truth. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about walking forward even when you are. Asterisk the crowd was silent. Many cried quietly, because they saw themselves in her story, the times they were told they weren't enough. The times they gave up before seeing what was possible. Asterisk after that, Amara continued her work, not just training bodies, but awakening spirits. She started teaching meditation and movement to veterans, to students, to anyone who wanted to find strength beyond muscle. Her sessions weren't about punches and kicks. They were about presence, awareness, and faith. Asterisk people came broken, stressed, lost. They left lighter, not because she gave them power, but because she reminded them they already had it. Asterisk and sometimes, after class, she would sit alone and remember the girl who once sat in the dark, hearing the word weak echoing in her mind. She would smile at that version of herself, because that girl was the foundation of everything that came after. Asterisk. The truth she learned was simple but eternal. Real strength is silent. It doesn't need a shout. It doesn't seek revenge. It doesn't boast. It simply is. Asterisk it flows through faith. It lives in peace. And it awakens when we stop pretending to be what others expect and start becoming who we truly are. Asterisk her story reminds us that there's a sacred power in stillness, a holy fire in calmness. The same power that turned her from the weakest trainee into the strongest soul in the room exists in every one of us. It's there when we breathe through fear, when we forgive, when we choose peace over pride. Asterisk. Years later, she returned to that same field one last time. The air was still. The sun was setting. She stood quietly, eyes closed, remembering everything, the laughter, the pain, the falls. The moment she rose, Asterisk she whispered, Thank you for calling me weak, because you helped me find my true strength." And then she smiled, turned toward the horizon, and walked forward. The sky above her shifted from gold to deep blue. The world around her felt quiet, but inside, there was music. The music of peace that had carried her through it all. That's the story of Amara, the girl they called weak. The woman who found power through peace. Her fight was never against 5 Marines. It was against her own doubt, and when she won that battle, no one could ever call her weak again. So maybe that's the message for you. For me, for all of us. You don't need to fight the world to prove yourself. You just need to find the stillness inside you. The moment you do, you'll realize that no amount of noise outside can shake the quiet truth within. And when the world tests you, when it laughs at you, when it calls you weak, smile, because it means you're on the path to discovering something powerful. Let peace guide you. Let faith hold you. Let your spirit do the fighting. Because when peace becomes your strength, no force on earth can defeat you. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more inspiring stories about the power of the human spirit. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and never forget, the calmest soul often carries the greatest strength.